Welcome to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Peak Progression Podcast. And I'm your host, Raag Suri, a singer and songwriter. And today we have the distinct pleasure of hosting a remarkable individual who wears many hats, literally and figuratively. Dr. David Powers. He is not just an average adventurer. He's a philosopher, pioneer, and a true force to be reckoned with. A decorated veteran of the Marine Corps and a founding member of the US Department of Homeland Security. Dr. Powers has faced life threatening situations head on, owning his skills to perfection. Now, he imparts his wisdom and expertise in conferences and various settings, teaching others the invaluable lessons he's learned all along the way. But that's not all. Dr. Powers is also a best selling author in cognitive psychology and experimental education. His mission goes beyond the battlefield. He's on a quest to find the magical best mug of coffee in the world, all while being a devoted husband and the proud father of 4 feral boys and 1 princess, whom he and his wife homeschool. Dr. Dave's impressive client list includes the American Red Cross, the US Secret Service, US Army, and so many more to name. So, without further ado, let's dive into the fascinating world of adventure, philosophy, and leadership with the one and only Dr. David Powers. Hi, Doctor. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
All good. So, Dr. David, since I've, got to know about you and, all the information I've gathered from the internet, I've been wondering, and I have this one question that I've been wanting to ask you. So, let's talk about your journey, from being a decorated Marine Corps veteran to becoming a pioneer in cognitive psychology and experimental education, and basically we're talking about life-threatening situations. You've been, there needs to be some inspiration that, made you get into a transition from life-threatening situations to, coaching and teaching. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I like to tell people that from the age of 17 on, I've been in jobs where people shot at me. And so, you tend to get used to that after a while. And, I joined the Marine Corps real early and enjoyed that. But my true passion, which I found later on, was the medical field. And so I became a medic, a combat medic, and worked in that field. And that was fun, too. But I'm one that always keeps looking for more challenges. I can't stay stagnant. I've got to keep, leveling up, finding another challenge. And so that's what led me into coaching. I went back to school, got my doctorate in counseling. And so now I tell people, I used to fix bodies and now I just mess with people's heads.
Okay. I got it. So, you've been a Marine Corps veteran, yeah. So, how do you apply the principles of military NCO training, to civilian life, especially in this realm of what we call is like middle management? So, how do you work with that?
Order. I am one that loves order, and not that I enjoy rules just for the sake of rules. I mean, that too many places do that. And to be honest with you, that's the thing I hated the most. If I could nail down one thing I hated the most about the military, it was the bureaucracy and the rules just for the sake of having a rule. But order is very important because people always ask, how do you get so much done? How do you do all these different things and keep your head straight? How do you deal with 5 kids that you school at home? And it's order. If I didn't keep things in order, if I didn't do things in the right progression and have the necessary rules and guidelines set up, there's no way any of it would function.
I agree. So, so can you elaborate on the importance of leadership and management training for, executives, sales teams, and managers, who are listening to the podcast?
Oh, absolutely. And one of my key passions is I love middle managers. And most people want to go straight to the CEO. They want to train C-level folks, the CEO, the COO, the board of directors. Me, I love the middle managers because in the military thrived because of the NCOs, the non-commissioned officers, who are basically the middle managers of the military. And they made everything work from the bottom up to their level, and they made everything work from there up to the next level. So many times I would see an officer who is basically in the military. He's the C-level guy. He's the CEO of the unit. And they would come to those NCOs for advice, and not always out in the open because you don't want to admit all the weaknesses. But they would pull that NCO aside and say, hey, what do you think I should say? What should I do? And so that's my passion, is teaching leadership and management to the middle guys. The middle guys that without them, no corporation, no military unit would be able to function.
Okay. Okay, got it. Understood. So let's talk about family, Dr. David. Let's talk about balancing a military career, adventure and family. It's so much. It must be very challenging. So how do you manage and prioritize these aspects of life?
I segmented everything pretty much because most of my early life, when I was away for months at a time, and I would go on deployments and things like that, it was early on, before I was married, before I had kids. And so a lot of that had to change. Nowadays, my trips are shorter. They're less dangerous because I do want to come. I've got more reason to come home than ever before. And so I've just, if I could say anything about that, if somebody's dealing with that challenge, is that you have to be adaptable, but you have to adapt, not just trying to cram two different things into the same space, but finding ways to make it work on both sides. And so for some people, it might mean, you deploy for a few months, or you go on a business trip for a few months, but when you come home, you need to focus on everybody at home. You need to make up for that lost time. And eventually, I always kind of counsel folks, as the kids get older, you don't want to miss that. You don't want to miss the relationships. And so eventually you are going to have to bring it back home a little more. These days, I have a home office. That's where I'm at right now. And with the kids schooling at home, it makes it harder to get as much work done. But I enjoy playing with the kids in the middle of the day. I enjoy having lunch with them and not having to worry about that. And it's just a matter of putting things in the right perspective.
Right. They're lucky to have you, man. And, this time is precious for each and every one of you. So let's get back to the topic and let's talk about, your expertise. So I want to know, how does your expertise extend to cognitive psychology and, experimental education? So basically what I mean to ask you is that, how do you feel, how do these fields, particularly intersect in your work?
Well, it's I kind of revolve them around my passions. That's how I bring, because let's be honest, cognitive psychology and experimental education, you say those and it can sound very dry and boring. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of it is. A lot of the lessons and classes and courses I went to, you'd be asleep in the back of the classroom and not miss a thing. And so I've brought what I learned from those areas and put my passions into those. Like for me, the experimental education, a lot of that is done with the kids here. Other times it's done out in the field with military units, or I'm training emergency crews how to do things. And I also, I like rapid skill development. That's something I developed because I hate wasting time. And I found that so much of learning anything is just wasted time, having to get through all the boring parts. And so I like to take a task, take a job, take a course of learning and get rid of all the stuff you don't need, all the distractions, all the boring stuff. And that way you can learn a skill or a body of knowledge a lot more rapidly. And that's where the cognitive psychology comes in.
Okay, got it. So, so I got to know that, you're an adventurer, and me being an adventurer myself, we understand that there are we have so many of a bunch of memories of challenges that we faced in life. So I want one of your most memorable challenges that you've faced. So if you could share it with us, and what learning did you gather from it?
Yeah, I mean, as far as adventuring, one of the areas I love to adventure is mountain climbing. I haven't been in a while. That's one of those things I had to scale down because of the kids. But I was on Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. And if for the folks who've been there, you realize when you climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, it's the tallest mountain in Africa. And there's a lower summit and a higher summit. The higher one's the peak. If you want to say you got to the top of the mountain, you got to go to that higher one. And I got to that lower summit, and I don't know what it was, whether I was out of shape, had eaten something bad, whatever. I was wiped out and I was ready to quit. I was ready to quit and just say, you know what? I couldn't make it. Couldn't make it. But some other people went walking by that I didn't know. And I saw them walking by and I said, I can't quit this. I mean, I've already spent 5 days climbing this mountain. And so sometimes it's just a matter of taking a break. I took a break long enough to realize, you know what? I may be tired, maybe wiped out, but I want to finish this thing. I want to get to the top so that I can say to everyone else and to myself, I didn't quit. I made it all the way to the top. And, of course, as you know, with any adventure, it's not always getting to the end point or the summit, it's getting back. And so you've got to have enough in the gas tank to make your way back as well. That's when so many people get hurt or get killed in the mountains.
Right. So you talked about quitting, which particularly brings me to a question, which is, what do you think of failure? Many people have gone through failure. Many people have got these thoughts about quitting, but what's your take on it? How do you feel? What exactly is failure for you?
Yeah, failure for me, I mean, it's a mindset thing. I kind of try to look at it as I'm going to experience failure no matter what. And so I try to look at it as I can take a failure mindset or a challenge mindset. And so I can look at the failure, and the failure mindset, I can look at that, and every failure is just going to be one more thing beating me down, saying you're not good enough, you're not going to make it, you should have never tried, what's wrong with you? That's a failure mindset. And knowing that we're going to fail anyway, if I can use the challenge mindset and knowing that each failure is a challenge, it's another step. It's another step up that I need to surpass. And so the challenge mindset will drive you on past the failures because you know it's going to happen. But in that regard, though, also, even knowing that we're going to fail so much, and the old saying, fail your way to the top. I like a better saying from a friend of mine. He said that it's best in life if you can learn from other people's failures, and that way you don't have to repeat them. And so I do that as much as possible. Like, where did this person mess up? Somebody that's doing something already that I want to do, where did they mess up? What can I learn from that? And how can I avoid having to do that? And I'll move up faster.
Yep, I agree. I agree. So, we were talking about stories, challenges and all. So, can you share a success story or some uh, transformative experience from your work with the organizations you've worked with, like American Red Cross or the U.S. Secret Service? Any success story or transformative experience you've had?
Yeah, actually, and this didn't happen in a conference or anything. That's where you think a lot of change would happen. I was visiting a friend, a physician, and he had another physician friend there with him, and we got to talking about passions and the things we want to do in life. And this guy, I mean, he was an OB doc, a women's doctor, and so he had already gone through 12 years of schooling to do this thing. And we were talking, and eventually by the end of the conversation, this guy who had gone through all that schooling, who had spent all that money and was still paying the money back, realized, you know what? I don't want to be a doctor. I never really wanted to be a doctor. What he wanted to do was play music. And you being an artist, you can understand that draw to the creative. And
Yep.
he found no creative satisfaction whatsoever in being a physician. It was just a job and one that he didn't much care for. And most people would look at that and say, "Well, you can't back out on that. You'd be stupid to not keep being a doctor because it's good money, there's prestige." But no, he quit all that. He quit being a doctor and started playing music. I don't know how successful he is now. I lost touch with him, but the thing is, successful or not in money, he's happier. He's got to be happier because he's doing what he feels he was made to be.
Yep, that's the ultimate aim, I believe. Happiness is the ultimate aim of any action people are doing at the moment. So, how do you tailor your coaching approaches to meet the unique needs of different uh, clients and industries?
I mean, everything is done specifically. I like to get to know the client. I mean, of course, part of any good meeting is first, I like to meet with them before I ever charge them anything, money, and just make sure we're going to be a good fit. I realize I'm not going to be the perfect fit for everybody. That would be impossible. And so, if I realize we're a good fit, then we can get down and get to work. And I tend to be more challenging. I mean, I went to school to get a counseling degree, but I realized that my personality, I would not make a good counselor. Counselors have to be empathic. They have to be willing to just sit there and listen and kind of take it all in and maybe give some recommendations, that kind of thing. And counselors have their place, but I'm a much better coach than a counselor. I'm the guy that when you come to me, I don't want to listen to your excuses. I just want to tell you to move past that and let's do this thing that you're wanting to do. Just take action. Action over meditation is one of the things I tell them sometimes.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's talk about you being an author. What motivated you to write and become a successful best-selling author, man? So what motivated you, write and come into these areas?
From a young age, I've been a writer. I've always loved writing, just putting words on paper. Lately, with all the options available on the internet, it's not just writing books. It's just I find that my passion is putting information out there, whether it's in book form, a course, a YouTube channel. I just love putting information out there and letting people do what they can with it, and hoping that it changes lives. And I mean, I still write though. I still write the books and publish books, and just because I love it. I love doing the research and the writing, and that's one of the things that I think I was made to do. That's one of the passions that's within me that I couldn't turn it off. I mean, if I had all the money in the world, I would probably still write and put those books out there. It's just something I can't turn off.
Right. So, what are your future goals and aspirations, both personally and professionally?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I mean, there's always Mount Everest, right? But I may never climb Mount Everest. There are some mountains I want to climb, and that's on the adventure side of things. But I'll be honest with you, if I never climbed another mountain or went on another huge, month-long adventure, it's time freedom. That's what I want. I don't want all the money in the world, but I want just enough money that I can have the time. I mean, we have a thing here in our household. One day a week, we do what we call homeschool adventure day. And basically, we'll take me and the kids and my wife, we'll go out and we'll go hiking, we'll go biking, we'll go visit a museum. And it's just a day for all of us to get out of the classroom, out of the office. And I mean, how many people can take off a full day of work in the middle of the week? And see, that's the kind of thing that time freedom buys you. And that's my dream. Eventually, as I make more money, it'll be taking longer trips instead of just one day. It'll be, I don't know, homeschool adventure month. Who knows? And maybe we'll come visit you and we'll go hang out. And, that's what I'm looking for, is just time freedom and being able to afford that.
Sure, anytime. So, we're coming towards the end of the podcast, but I have two questions left for you. First one is very basic, that, what are some of the best ways for our listeners to get in touch with you?
Oh, yeah. drdavidpowers.com. Just the drdavidpowers.com. That's my website. But I'm on social media a lot. I enjoy it. I've got a VA that does more work than I do on social media. And so I just love putting ideas and pictures and my family's adventures just out on social media. So at Rugged Dad, Rugged Dad. And that's my handle on Instagram. And you can find me on YouTube as well. We often chronicling the adventures here on our little farm.
Okay. So, the last question for you, man. Any piece of advice for, the people who are listening to our podcast today?
Anything worth doing is worth overdoing. And I don't mean the bad things. Certainly if you're doing something bad, stop. Stop doing the bad things. But if you're trying to start a business, trying to go on an adventure, trying to have an amazing family, you throw everything you have into that. If it's worth doing at all, you just throw everything you've got towards it and just have fun with it.
Right, right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. David, for being on the podcast. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Nice being with you.